Why do your greatest desires seem to run further away the harder you chase them? Why does love evade the desperate and success arrive only when you've stopped caring? Today, through the cold and cunning eyes of Machiavelli, we uncover the brutal truth. You've been chasing the world like a beggar when you should rule it like a prince. Let go not to lose, but to win. Listen closely, for what I say now offends the delicate soul. You are not failing because you lack intelligence, nor because you lack opportunity. You are failing because you are clinging. Like a child holding tightly to a toy he fears losing, you hold your ambitions, your desires, your people, your reputation with trembling fingers, with white knuckles, with fear that betrays your hunger, and in this fear, you reveal your deepest weakness, attachment. A man who is attached is a man who signals lack. His need is painted across his face, worn in his voice, stitched into every gesture. And understand this clearly, the world, like a lion, smells desperation before it strikes. People flee from need, they are repulsed by it, even if they do not admit it. You desire success, so you worship it. You chase it, you beg it to recognize you, and in doing so, you reduce yourself to a supplicant kneeling at a throne you should have built yourself. You love a woman, so you show her your heart. You wait by the door, you answer every call, and like a deer sensing the hunter's breath, she runs. Not because she does not desire you, but because she senses you desire her too much. The truth is brutal, but I do not offer comfort, I offer clarity. Attachment weakens the mind, it clouds judgment, it makes you emotional when you should be calculating. A ruler cannot govern if he is ruled by longing. A strategist cannot win if his heart trembles before the game begins. In your obsession with outcomes, you reveal you are not prepared to lose, and that is why you cannot win. The strongest man is not the one who loves nothing, but the one who can walk away from anything. To walk away is not to stop caring. It is to understand that your desire is not sacred. It is a lever, one that others will pull if you do not first cut the rope. You must learn to want and yet appear unmoved. You must learn to pursue without revealing your thirst. You must be like the fox, silent, cunning, indifferent to the prize until it is already in your mouth. When you are attached, you give your enemies a weapon. They know what you cannot let go. They know what you fear to lose. And with that knowledge, they do not need armies. They need only patience. They will make you crawl. They will make you dance for crumbs. Kings do not beg. Wolves do not chase rabbits in panic. And power does not come to those who broadcast their need for it. You see, when you are unattached, the world cannot manipulate you. No one can seduce you with what you do not crave. No one can control you with promises. You become ungovernable, and that is the beginning of freedom. You may think your passion is a strength, but I ask you, what has it brought you? More often, it brings chaos, emotional outbursts, poor decisions. It pushes people away. It weakens your posture. It convinces others that they are above you, that you need them more than they need you. Tell me, when has your desperation ever worked? When has begging ever brought you true loyalty or lasting power? Never, because those who need serve, and those who serve do not rule. Let go of the illusion that you must hold on, that you must fight for every moment, every glance, every opportunity. Some battles are won not by attack, but by retreat. Some thrones are taken not by force, but by silence. You will begin to rise the moment you learn to release. Not from defeat, but from discipline. To be detached is not to be cold. It is to be precise, to love without addiction, to lead without obsession, to act without fear of loss. And if you cannot do this, then you will remain a servant of your own desires, a slave to outcomes you cannot control. an actor in a play where others write the final act. Because attachment, my dear listener, is weakness, not in poetry, but in reality, and reality does not reward weakness. It consumes it. Do not be fooled by the noise of the desperate. The loudest voice in the room is often the weakest. The one who pleads, who explains, who justifies himself, he is already beneath the man who says nothing. True power is quiet. It is not shouted, it is not posted, it is not begged for, it is felt, it is known. And the man who understands this wields something far greater than charm, persuasion, or brute strength. He wields indifference. You have been taught your entire life to care, to show your feelings, to prove yourself, and yet the more you care, the more you show, the less you are respected. This is not a contradiction, it is a law. The more you show that you need something, the more the world believes you do not deserve it. And so, power does not rest with the one who tries to impress. It rests with the one who simply does not try. Understand this. Indifference is not ignorance. It is not laziness. It is a weapon. It is control disguised as distance. The one who is indifferent is feared because he cannot be manipulated. He cannot be provoked. He cannot be seduced. His emotions are not on display. His value is not tied to the reaction of others. He is a mystery, and in mystery there is power. People crave attention from those who do not give it freely. Why? Because we are wired to chase what we cannot easily possess. When you make yourself too available, you become common, and what is common is cheap. But when you are reserved, calculated, cool, others begin to wonder if you know something they do not. They begin to question their own worth in your presence. They seek your approval. They work for it. And they respect you more because they cannot read you. A prince who shows no fear gains obedience without raising his voice. A ruler who does not chase the crowd ends up being followed by it. This is the power of indifference. It reverses the dynamic. It turns the pursuer into the prize. You believe attention is power, but power lies in your ability to withhold it. You think being emotional makes you authentic, but emotion without strategy is suicide. Every outburst, every argument, every anxious reply, it leaks control. And once your control is gone, so is your advantage. Do you think Caesar won Rome by begging for allegiance? Do you believe that the great players of history screamed for recognition? No. They stood in the shadows while others bled to be seen. They offered silence in the place of validation. They let the world wonder about their thoughts, their motives, their next move. The man who speaks too much reveals himself. The man who explains himself too often loses stature. The man who needs to be understood rarely is. But the man who is indifferent, he becomes a mirror. Others project onto him. They interpret his silence as confidence. They treat his coldness as depth. They give him meaning he never needed to voice. This is not about being emotionless. It is about being untouchable. You feel emotions, but you do not act on them like a fool. You observe your opponents, but you do not react like a pawn. You want success, but you never show desperation. That is what makes you dangerous. The indifferent man cannot be humiliated because he does not fear the loss of reputation. He cannot be bribed because he appears to need nothing. He cannot be insulted because he remains unmoved. And in that stillness, he becomes the most formidable figure in any room. When others show their hunger, show your calm. When they cry out, remain silent. When they beg for results, let your presence speak louder than promises. The storm always fears the mountain that will not move. Indifference is that mountain. Those around you will panic, beg, overextend themselves trying to win favor, love, or loyalty. Let them. Every step they take toward you only strengthens your position. They are dancing to a rhythm you do not even acknowledge. That is power. And once they realize you do not care, not out of apathy, but out of strategy, they will begin to care more, because nothing commands devotion like the one who does not need it. You have been lied to again. They told you that letting go is weakness, that surrender is failure, that walking away is cowardice. But those who say this know nothing of power and even less of war. The truth is this: letting go is not a collapse. It is not the end. It is a weapon, a tactic, a choice made by the one who knows the battlefield better than the enemy. You imagine power as a clenched fist, tight, aggressive, dominant. But sometimes real power is the open palm, the one that holds nothing yet controls everything. The man who clings to every decision, every plan, every person, every outcome. He is not strong. He is frantic. He is drowning in the illusion of control. But the man who lets go, who loosens his grip when the time demands it, he is the one who survives. And more than that, he wins. You see, letting go is not passive. It is not retreating out of fear. It is stepping back because you see more than others. You see the game beyond the move. You see the war beyond the battle. You understand that time is a better soldier than fury, and patience, when used properly, is more brutal than any sword. Sometimes you let go because what you are holding onto is dragging you under. Sometimes you let go because the chase itself exposes you as the lesser one. But most often, you let go because the thing you're after is not yet ready to submit, and in your stepping away, you shift the balance of power. Letting go is not giving up. It is giving nothing to something that does not deserve your energy. And in that nothing, there is force. A man who walks away from an argument he could win is not weak. He is saving his fire for a better target. A ruler who abandons a negotiation is not surrendering. He is creating anxiety in the opponent, allowing silence to do what words cannot. The strategist who releases a plan he once believed in is not lost. He has simply stopped throwing soldiers into a battle that brings no profit. This is how the wise survive, and more importantly, how they rule. Letting go, when done with intention, causes a shift in perception. Suddenly, those who thought they held power over you feel it slip. Suddenly, what was once being ignored becomes desired. Suddenly, your absence speaks louder than your presence ever could. This is how kings are made, not just through conquest, but through absence that wounds deeper than any blow. But you have been taught to hold on, to push, to beg, to persist even when all signs demand you to withdraw. And in that persistence, you lose everything. Not because you lacked force, but because you lacked wisdom. There is a time to act, and there is a time to wait. There is a time to speak, and there is a time to go silent. There is a time to hold on, and there is a time to release. But if you mistake one for the other, you will not be feared. You will not even be seen. You will become just another noise in the chaos. You must ask yourself, am I still pursuing power? Or am I feeding my ego with a fight I should have abandoned long ago? The one who knows when to let go always returns with more. More clarity, more options, more leverage. The enemy believes you are gone. And just as they lower their guard, you strike. Letting go is not weakness, it is bait. And you, if you are to rule, must become the fisherman who never pulls too early. To stop chasing what refuses to yield is not to accept defeat. It is to create space for something better to appear, or for what you once desired to come crawling back, now humbled, now within reach, now on your terms. You do not always win by taking. You win by knowing when not to take, by knowing when your silence is louder than your demands, when your exit is more haunting than your presence. Desire, in its purest form, is fire. It gives heat, energy, drive. But like fire, it is not meant to spread uncontrolled. You must command it, contain it, shape it into a blade, not warm your enemies with its glow. Because the moment desire begins to lead, you no longer rule, you follow. And the man who follows his desires without question is not a leader. He is a slave dressed in velvet. The greatest victories in history were not achieved by those who were consumed by their passions, but by those who learned to use them like instruments, played skillfully, and never louder than necessary. You can desire wealth, power, affection, conquest. There is no shame in wanting. The shame lies in needing. The shame lies in bending your strategies to suit your craving, instead of using your craving to sharpen your strategies. When you let desire control you, your enemies will not need to defeat you. You will defeat yourself. You will compromise too early. You will speak when silence was your advantage. You will show your hand to gain their approval. They will dangle your desire before you like bait on a hook. And you will bite again and again until you bleed. You believe that your hunger gives you purpose, but hunger without discipline makes you predictable. They know what to offer you. They know what makes you weak. They know what to promise, what to deny, what to threaten. And you become a marionette pulled by invisible strings, thinking you are dancing when you are only being dragged. The prince must study his own desire. He must understand it, dissect it, observe it like a hunter watches prey. Only then can he weaponize it, because when you know what you want, truly know it, you also begin to understand what it costs, what it exposes, and how easily others can use it against you. You must turn desire into fuel, not instruction. You feel it, but you do not obey it. You let it sharpen your instincts, but never override your logic. You let it whisper, but never scream. When desire becomes the master, decisions become emotional, not strategic. And emotion is the favorite poison of those who seek to dismantle rulers from within. You must learn to present desire while concealing it. Let others believe you want nothing. Let them wonder why you are so calm, so unmoved, so hard to seduce. Because the moment they think they have figured out what you crave, they will try to feed it to you, and that's when you reveal that their offering was never enough, that they've been negotiating with a ghost. A man who wants something but appears to want nothing is terrifying. He cannot be bought. He cannot be coerced. He cannot be bribed with pleasure, threatened with loss, or manipulated with reward. He is not passive, he is unreadable, and in that silence he gains leverage. Because while others are gambling with emotion, he is calculating odds. Do not run from desire, control it. Let it live under your rule like a beast behind iron bars. When the time is right, release it with precision. Let it serve your aims, not sabotage them. The fire inside you must burn hot, but it must burn within limits. Unchecked, it spreads and consumes. Contained, it lights the way to conquest. Ask yourself, are you using your desires to move others? Or are others using your desires to move you? The merchant shows you what you already want, and you pay him. The ruler shows others what they want, and they pay him. This is the balance. You must not only manage your own desires, you must learn to control theirs. Desire is the lever of all people. You do not need to move the world. You only need to move desire, and the world follows. But that control begins within. If you cannot master your longing, your fear of missing out, your hunger for validation, then others will. And when they do, they will feed you only enough to keep you chasing, never enough to let you win. And you will think you are climbing, when in fact you are circling a cage they built from your own impulses. Now you see the game for what it is. You believe the world would reward effort, that the harder you chased, the closer you would come. But power does not move toward hunger. It recoils from it. Influence does not bloom under pressure. It grows in silence, in distance, in the shadow of discipline. Attachment exposed your fear. Emotion shattered your posture. Desire ruled you like a tyrant whispering lies behind a velvet curtain. And all the while, you believed you were acting from strength. But strength does not scream, it does not cling, it does not beg, it waits, it withholds, it lets go. Everything you want, every ambition, every conquest, every whispered dream, it does not come when you chase it like a starving dog. It comes when you no longer need it, when you walk away, not in surrender, but in mastery, when your silence becomes more powerful than your words, when your absence becomes more valuable than your presence. The world bends not to the man who runs after it. It kneels to the one who turns his back, so step away, let go, not because you are weak, but because you are finally too strong to need.